Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another Guild Wars 2 PvP guide. This time we're in World vs World for a change. Haven't made a World vs World build guide, but we're on Elementalists, so as some of you may know, they've released all these big changes. They've announced all the changes for the classes, like balance changes before the Heart of Thorns releases. And Elementalist Dagger took a big hit, and it's pretty much useless now. It lacks a lot of its fire capability and its burning capability, so you do a lot less damage now. It still has similar survivability, however, that was one of the main parts of the build, applying a lot of burning pressure. So instead of crying about it, even though I'm very sad about DDLE being nerfed, I've been playing around with different builds. So if you want to see a PvP LE guide, I'll make an SF LE soon, which is full Berserker bursting type of build. But this is a Dagger focus aura share build for Elementalist. So there's quite a few important things you got to run, and I'll explain some tips and tricks and some rotations and everything like I usually do. But yeah, so this is a really strong build. It can be run in frontline or the backline, or it can just be very focused on taking out multiple targets. It has massive ability to tag down people, tag people. The auras are really nice for sharing them with your driver or your heavy melee party. So if you have one of these LEs per heavy party, so a heavy party consists of like 2 guardians, a warrior, and an LE and a necro, or anything like that. So any guardian, warrior, LE, necro combo. This is a frontline LE, so there's also backline staff LEs, but I'll get into it now. So I'll just go over the whole theme of the build. I'll start with equipment. So I run full celestial exotic armor with Radiance Rune. So you must have Radiance Runes for the build. They're very easy to get, even though you can't buy them off the trading post. You can craft all 6 of them for about 5 gold in about 10 minutes, so it's really easy. So these runes give you vitality, which increases our health. We have substantially high health for Elementalist, and toughness as well when we trait the right Signet. So the Signet choice is up to you, but I usually go for the toughness or air Signet. I'll explain those later. So full celestial just gives a few stats to everything, and this all adds up really nicely. So you have high healing power, condition damage, precision, toughness, health. Although our power is a bit lacking, we have a lot of access to might stacking, and since we'll be in a heavy party, the Guardians give us a lot of might, and we'll have our own might, and we'll run power food. I'll get into some food and oils later. And in regards to weapons, we run Assassin's Dagger and a Knight's Focus. You can run a Berserker Focus as well. I'm running the wrong sigil on this, don't mind that. But, oh, that's the wrong dagger as well. But you run an energy sigil on your dagger, and on focus you can run a force sigil, a leeching sigil, or an accuracy sigil if you really want it, but I suggest you go leeching or something to steal health. So the Radiance Rune, so they give vitality, and number 2 bonus, whenever you receive an aura, gain 5 seconds of swiftness. This has a long internal cooldown, so it works like the first time you apply an aura. We also have a trait that whenever we apply an aura, we gain swiftness. Then whenever you use a healing skill, you gain 4 seconds of light aura, and this benefits from all your traits. It has a 20-second cooldown, so you get protection, fury, swiftness, and everything when you use your healing skill. And we rerun Written in Stone, so we actually still maintain the Signet's passive effect once we've activated it. And then number 6, so the duration of all auras you apply are increased by 33%, which is extremely powerful for this build, since it's just focused on applying auras. Also, trinkets and everything, once again, full celestial. I got these in Ascended because they're quite easy to get. You can get these 2 rings from running fractals quite frequently, or you can buy them with laurels and World vs World badges. You get these from guild missions. They're a bit harder to get, but they can still be done in about 2 weeks. And Light of Dwayna is the back piece that I have. It's very hard to get. It costs quite a bit of gold. You can run one of those Berserker back pieces, or even an exotic. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be Ascended. And then Syzygy is as a Celestial Amulet, which is really easy to get, so don't worry about that. You buy that from any laurel vendor for like 25 laurels, I think. So in regards to Celestial Armour, a lot of you may be wondering, how do you get this, or like, I don't see it on the trading post or anything like that. This is actually a crafting only set, so you can only get this through crafting Tailor 400, so you have to get your tailoring to 400, mine's at 500 right now, but it has to be 400 at least, and it's not on this tune, I believe. But you buy the recipes from the trading post, I believe, and then you've got to get these things called charged quartz crystals, and then you've got to go to a skill point every day and charge them. So quartz crystal, and you use 25 of these to turn them into a charged quartz crystal, which I currently don't have any on me, and you can only do one of these a day. They're time gated, so you need 5 for each armor piece, so 5 times 6 is 30, so it takes 30 days to get this full set. However, it's really worth it, and in the meantime you can run a mix of knights and soldiers and a bit of berserker if you want. But I really recommend running Celestial with the build. So, getting into the actual build now, we run air, earth, and water. There's a lot of traits in the fire line which are very beneficial to the build, but we must run these 3 lines to gain access to everything, pretty much. I wish we could run 4, it would be so powerful then. But yeah, I'll get into air. So, move faster while attuned to air. So this just gives you a 25% movement speed bonus. Same as your Signet of air, so you don't really need to run Signet of air. Although it's a really good Signet. I'll get into that in a bit. I'll get into the Signets in a second. Then auras grant fury and swiftness when applied. So every time you grant an aura, like shocking aura, I'll go through all the auras as well. So there's 1 aura per attunement on multiple weapons. So with Dagger Focus you have access to a fire aura and a lightning aura, and you can switch out some of your weapons while you're out of combat to gain access to the other 2 auras, and then your heal Signet gives you access to the light aura. Also, if you blast a chaos field, you gain access to chaos armor, which also counts as an aura. Some of you may not know that. And so yeah, that's a really main part of the build. Then lightning strike, of course, so whenever you switch to air, you just strike a foe, great for tagging people and adding a bit of extra burst. Then Aeromancer's training, so your air skills have reduced recharge, so that makes Shocking Aura really powerful. Swirling Rune's extremely powerful. Swirling Winds is great in Wadbus World, and Gale is pretty strong as well. And then you gain increased precision, which is nice. Then you just cause a Volon on crit every so often. And Fresh Air, of course, so you recharge air attunement on crit. You can run Lightning Rod as well, but you only have access to 1 CC in your air attunement, so Gale and Shocking Aura can also proc Lightning Rod. However, Fresh Air is better for the instant air cast, so every time you crit, air recharges. Whenever you switch to air, you hit someone with a lightning strike, and it's great. So in Earth, we have toughness while attuned to Earth, so Earth is a very defensive line, so if you want to start a fight, you can usually start it in Earth. Then gain protection when applying an aura to yourself or an ally, so once again, more stuff for your auras. And boon duration food really helps this, so it increases the protection duration and the duration from the fury and swiftness. Then Earthen Blast, so damage foes and cripple them when attuning to Earth. Not too bad, just a bit of cripple. Great for closing the gap and being sticky and sticking to your opponent. Then Rock Solid's a really cool trait, great for fuss pushing on an Elementalist. Since you'll be pushing with your heavy party, you'll already have a lot of stab, but in the stab downtime you can attune to Earth and gain stability. So this is 1 stack, it will block something like a hammer stun, not too bad, and it's great for stomping, so it guarantees a safe stomp against any CC class. Take less damage from foes within close range, so you'll be up in foes' faces a lot, so because you're a frontline Elementalist, so you'll take 10% less damage. Then Written in Stone is really good for this build because it gives us access to our healing skill, which we never usually would use, but we get a free 3,500 heal every 20 seconds, which isn't too bad, and we can use any of the 4 Signets, any of the 4 other Signets here. So I might as well cover the Signets now. So Signet of Fire is not usually run with this build. It just applies a bit of burning pressure and gives us precision. We already have enough precision, especially while attuned to air. We sit at about 50%, which is quite high for a Celestial build. and with Fury we'll be up to 70%, so we don't need that. Signet of Water isn't too bad. The active is a bit bad. It's chill one foe for 4 seconds, and it doesn't really do anything else, but the condition removal is nice since this build lacks that. However, in Earth 4 we have access to a triple condition clear, a blast finisher, some damage, and a reflect. This is one of the strongest skills for Dagger Focus Elementalist. And you'll be in the Guardian heavy frontline party, so they'll have access to a lot of condition clear on you, and your warrior will as well, so you don't need to worry too much about that if you stick close to them. Air Signet's really great, so it's a stun break on a 20-second cooldown, so that's really low. It blinds your foes, and it deals damage, so it's great for tagging them, but the blind's really strong. We don't really need the movement speed, however, if we're not in air, we won't benefit from the 25%, so it could be helpful. However, Toughness Signet, just the passive is really great, so 180 Toughness makes us a lot tankier, and it's a single target condition pressure / immobilize, so you could immobilize the driver, for example, or some poor backline dude who's just about to get blown up by your thieves and mesmers. So yeah, I usually run Earth Signet. And don't be afraid to use these since you still maintain the passive, so you can use them whenever they're up. This one also deals a little bit of damage. So in regards to Waterline, so of course we have Soothing Mist. Unfortunately we can't run Soothing Power, that would be great. But it's a 134 health per second tick on 5 allies, which is really nice, just a bit of extra regen. It's basically permanent regeneration. Then, gain Frost Aura when you're crit every 20 seconds. So, once again, this applies an aura which works with elemental shielding, so you gain protection and fury and swiftness. So that's a really strong trait for the build. Heal nearby allies when attuning to water. This is quite high, so you can use this defensively. So the healing's pretty good. Then Soothing Disruption, so this is your cantrip trait which reduces the cooldown, and you get regen and vigor from them. Healing done to allies is increased, so your water attunement, when you switch to water you'll heal allies quite a lot. Your Soothing Mist heals allies for more, and Cone of Cold heals allies for quite a lot as well. Then Powerful Aura, of course, Aura Share Elementalist, or Powerful Aura Elementalist. This just shares all the auras you get with your allies, and it also applies the boons to them. So this applies Fury, Swiftness, Protection to an ally whenever you apply an aura to them. So imagine applying this 5 times, like all these 3 boons to 5 allies every couple of seconds. It's really powerful. So I'll get into our ways to apply aura now, so I'll start with fire and I'll move across. So, in regards to fire attunement, you have access to 2 fire auras if you're in combat. If you're out of combat, you have access to 1. So this is just a plain skill that puts an aura on you and 5 other allies. And if you're in combat, you can drop a fire field, switch to earth, and activate a leap finisher to gain the next fire shield aura. So I'll pop my first one, switch to earth, get a bit of burning off, and a leap finisher, gain another fire aura as you saw there. And then we can switch to water. Let's just finish this guy off here really quick. Yep, he's dead. Okay. So in relation to water, you only have access to a weapon skill aura while out of combat. So while you're running around, you can switch to an offhand dagger, and then skill number 4 gives you Frost Aura for 7 seconds, which applies the following boons. And then you can switch back to focus really quick. So lightning or air attunement is your main access to auras, because Shocking Aura has quite high uptime. It's about 6 seconds with the trait, and it has a 16-second cooldown. So imagine this with 3 aura share elementalists in each party, and then you all just have a pretty much permanent uptime of Shocking Aura. And Swirling Winds, of course, it drops this massive big bubble around you, so makes you immune to things like Ranger Pew Pew, Elementalist Fireballs. Mesmer's auto attacks can still go through this, but any range pressure cannot. And yeah, so Shocking Aura there. With Earth Attunement, so you can usually have a weapon like Staff here. Switch to Staff, pop number 3, Magnetic Aura, that's another aura there. And then switch back to your weapon skills here. Am I running the wrong trait? Oh yeah, you can also run Geomancer's Training, so this reduces recharge on all earth weapon skills if you don't need the stability, and your Guardians are good at popping stab. So this reduces recharge on Magnetic Wave and Obsidian Flesh, making it quite strong. Ring of Earth is also a projectile block for about a second or two, 1 second actually. So if you see a big projectile incoming, you can block it with Ring of Earth. But yeah, so Staff is your access to an aura on Earth. Dagger is your access to an aura on Shocking, on Air Attunement. Dagger offhand in Water, and Focus offhand in Fire. And then of course you have your Signet of Restoration, which applies to 3 boons and heals you and gives you Light Aura. So Light Aura just applies vulnerability whenever you're struck. And then we run Lightning Flash and Armour of Earth. If you feel you don't benefit from the toughness and you're versing massive blobs, you could instead run Mist Form for the free escape, but Lightning Flash of course for the blink and a bit of damage, and Armour of Earth of course for the stability, protection, regen and vigor, and stun break. So Elementalist elites are pretty weak, but we run Fiery Greatsword for the mobility. So you can use the number 3 and 4 skills to get around quickly or disengage from a fight. And yeah, we move pretty far. And then use number 3 when it's off cooldown again, and yeah, so look how far we've gone. So yeah, it's a mobility skill there. So those are our access to auras. We have access to 1, 2 with the leap, 3 with Dagger offhand, 4 with air, 5 with staff, earth, and 6 with Signet of Restoration. So in combat you only have access to 1, 2, 3, but you want to spam Shocking Aura whenever it's up, and it's great for when you're doing your initial push. So for example, the enemies over here, your big melee trains over here, you pop a Swirling Wind, Guardians in power up, 3, 2, 1, push in now, Shocking Aura, 3, 2, 1, leap in. You combine Burning Speed with a Lightning Flash, and everyone that hits you gets stunned. You can also pop Obsidian Flesh to just face tank everything for a good 4 seconds. It's a pure hard invul and can't get CC'd, conditions can't be applied to you, and you can't take any damage at all. So that's really powerful. Great Escape as well. It's similar to a Mist Form, but in Mist Form you can take conditions. So in relation to food, you want to run boon duration food. So any food with boon duration, chocolate, mango, chocolate mangoes I think. No, that's not it. Chocolate oranges. I'll be right back and I'll check the food for you guys. Hey, so I'm back. So the cheapest access to boon duration food that we have is chocolate Omnom Berry Cream, I believe. So this gives you just some magic find, which is useless. But the 20% boon duration is really nice. So that's your food that you run with the build. And the oils that we run are just the classic sharpening stones. These are the cheap ones, 5% and 3%. However, you can spend a bit of extra silver if you're rich. And run the more expensive ones, superior sharpening stones. So then if you want to spec for power food, if you're not getting enough might you feel, you can run Plate of Steak and Asparagus, or the higher one, the one that gives you 100 health, 100 power and 70 vitality, which is really nice. So as you see, we get a lot of bags from this build. I was up to about 60 yesterday, and today I've gotten up to about 15, but we haven't even done a World vs. World raid yet. So that's the DF Aura Share Elementalist build. Hope you guys like it. So since Dagger's dying, I recommend you start practicing with it now, so you get really used to it once the changes go through. It's really strong in frontline, great for pressuring, massive utility and team support, and it's really fun to play as well. Or seeing all these big auras following you around. Switch to fire, seeing the fire aura, light aura as well. Stacking them is really fun. And then Dagger, you can get a staff one off as well. Yeah, so it's a really good build. Hope you guys like it. Try it out. Check out some of my other PvP builder guides if you want. And see you guys next time.